Good evening, and welcome into Stick to Sports. I'm Luke Owens.
And I'm Matt Watling. We have another great show for you tonight, as we'll be unraveling the breaking news regarding the 2017 Astros, the college football playoff rankings, and the drama surrounding the Knicks. You won't want to miss it.
Roll it!
In an absolute stunning upset, the best thing we saw this week heads to Carolina, where one man isn't screaming for ice cream, he's scheming for ice cream.
Nice little wordplay there. I love it.
Let's take a look. And there it is. You see the little highlight there, slowly zooming in. And what's that? The man's talking to the guy in the Whalers jersey and loses his ice cream cone.
You really scooped that away from him. But I love how, you know what I love? The guy keeps the pose. Like, he still thinks the ice cream is in his hand. Like, don't you feel that weight distribution just leaving your hand?
But there's like a cup thing there, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of sees that. But
it's made of
also,
paper.
I don't know why this is our best thing. This is a tragedy and a disgrace that someone would steal someone else's ice cream cone.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Like, if you stole that from me, I don't think we'd ever talk
This is the
again.
worst thing I've ever seen.
But it was also great. And
We should retract, do it again.
We gotta reset the show. All right, welcome back. Welcome to Stick to Sports. No, just kidding.
Worst thing we've seen this week. But we're going to move into our headlines. And the Baltimore Ravens may be the hottest team in the NFL, winners of 5 straight. Their latest victim was the Cincinnati Bengals, who they handled to the tune of 49-13. Ravens QB Lamar Jackson has been nothing short of incredible, throwing last week for 223 yards and 3 touchdowns, while adding 65 yards rushing and yet another crazy touchdown. Is it time we added Jackson to the realm of elite NFL quarterbacks?
He's so good. He's so talented. The way he plays is so talented. And the impressive thing is he threw, I think, 17 times in this game.
Yeah.
And he still threw for over 200 yards, I believe the number was. And you see him running here, just 3 or 4 spin moves. You know, he's so good, he made Bill Polian, in just his second season, apologize for saying he should be a wide receiver.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me was after the game, Coach John Harbaugh said, quote, "You changed the game, man." He really, everyone realizes what Lamar Jackson is doing. And I used to really question his ability to pass, but 65.9% completions for 2,036 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 picks. He's really gotten better throwing the football this year.
Right, and even during the game, he was talking to his coach Harbaugh, and Harbaugh was saying, "Look, like, this is why everyone loves you here." And he goes like, "No, I love you."
Yeah.
To his coach. So he's just he has his head on right, and just a really tremendously talented player, and one of 2 quarterbacks to ever have more than 1 perfect passer rating in a single season. Can you guess the other one?
Michael Vick.
Nope.
Who?
Ben Roethlisberger.
What?
2007.
Okay.
Why would you say Michael
What
Vick
was
for
the
passer?
number? Oh, I thought you
passer
said
rating.
passing plus rush.
No, passer rating, 158.3.
You know what? I'm just going to quit. Yeah, he's amazing, though. Even at Louisville, you could tell he could throw the ball. And,
Yeah.
and 9th in QB rating this year, he's been incredible.
Very impressive. And last night might have been the best Monday night game of the season, where the Seahawks defeated the 49ers in overtime 27-24. It's only 1 loss, but some of the Niners' problems are starting to show, Luke.
Yeah, they really are. And I don't know if I can trust Jimmy G in a big game. I think that's really my big takeaway. Time and time again, this 49ers defense is incredible. They take the ball away. They score touchdowns. But Jimmy G and the offense just haven't been able to put it away. So that's my biggest concern. It was my biggest concern last week. And now on the biggest stage in football, he looked a little shaky.
Yeah, and I think part of that's the issue, but also look at his weapons. Emmanuel Sanders now has rib cartilage injury. George Kittle is out with an ankle and knee injury. Who else does he have? Is Matt Breida or Tevin Coleman a starting running back?
I mean, not great, and only 87 yards rushing yesterday. They're usually a very potent rushing offense, but really struggled yesterday. But, look at the other side of that game. Russell Wilson didn't play great, but he made the big plays when he needed to. And Jimmy G really crumbled, especially in that overtime period.
Yeah, I think that this team's a year or 2 away. He needs not a star, but a legit number 1 receiver. I don't think he has that just yet.
Yeah, I agree. And, I mean, it's a tough stretch coming up for them. Cardinals, Packers, Ravens, Saints. I mean, they could lose 3 out of those 4 games. I think Seattle right now is the kings of the NFC West, and they'll meet again in Week 17. That could be really the biggest game of this NFL season, possibly.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely the Seahawks. I think the Niners are a good team. They're great defensively. Bosa's just been unreal.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the Seahawks and it's Russell Wilson, and they've been there before, and they've kind of proven that to us.
Yeah, and 49ers kind of took advantage of a soft schedule, so we'll see if they get it going forward. But after suffering a brutal loss to the Titans, the Kansas City Chiefs are now 6-4 and only a half game up on the Raiders in the AFC West. Yesterday, Colin Cowherd said on his show, The Herd on Fox Sports 1, that, quote, "The Chiefs are built to win MVPs, not championships." Matt, do you agree with this take?
Is it that they're not built to win championships, or is it that they forgot to build a defense? I think that's the real issue.
And defense wins championships. So I think that, it kind of matches up.
It goes hand in hand for sure, but I think saying that you didn't build for championships is factual, but you're missing the defense part. Their offense scored, what, 33 points last night?
Yeah.
Or last week? That's a winnable game. If you're giving up 37, 35 points to the Titans
Yeah.
and Ryan Tannehill, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, they have the 22nd ranked defense. You know what this team really reminds me of is the Aaron Rodgers-led Packers of yesteryears, where, you know, they did win one Super Bowl, but Rodgers is a quarterback that should have 4 or 5 Super Bowls. He's just so talented and, you know, an MVP candidate week in and week out. You want to watch him. But that defense was so bad for the Packers, they can never make those deep playoff runs. And we've seen that with Kansas City, especially last year in that AFC Championship game where the Patriots won the coin toss and we knew the game was over because the Chiefs don't have a defense.
Yeah, it's really tough to see for the Chiefs, but for them, you hope that they can figure it out because this is an exciting team. I want to see them in the playoffs and do
they're
well.
so fun. I mean, Hill and Mahomes and Kelsey, the list goes on and on with these MVP type guys.
And in our final headline of the night, I should say, former Astros pitcher Mike Fiers told The Athletic that in 2017 the team used a center field camera to steal signs en route to a World Series. Luke, I've seen some people compare this to the Patriots Spygate, and I just thought that was like an interesting kind of weird comparison. You obviously being a huge baseball guy, what did you kind of think of that?
Well, the big takeaway for me is that if you're not stealing signs in baseball, I don't really know what you're doing. I mean, with all the modern technology, I think everyone assumes that you're stealing signs. But yeah, this Spygate was an interesting comparison to me. And this stealing signs thing doesn't really bother me. I don't know if I just don't have I don't feel strongly about it at all. I think it's part of the game. I mean, you can say it's unfortunate, but to me, everyone's doing it.
But also, are they using technology to do it?
I mean, the Red Sox use the Apple Watch.
But that's not a camera as much, you know?
2016.
It's not a camera, though. Like,
I know,
that's blatantly clear stealing signs.
Yeah, I mean, it is. But, yeah, you compare it to Spygate, and you say, you know, what happened there? Bill Belichick fined $500,000. They lose a first-round pick. I mean, is that an appropriate response?
But I also think that Spygate in the NFL is more critical. And
Agreed.
correct me if I'm wrong, because you're showing blatant plays that you can easily counter. At least with a pitch, like if you're a hitter or if you're a pitcher, you might just miss. The pitch might just be better than what you can hit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I just don't think it's a huge deal, but I'll be definitely interested to see what punishments come out of this.
Right, and we're going to take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. When we come back, we'll take a deeper look at the college football rankings only on WTOP 10. Welcome back to Stick to Sports. With a busy week across the sports nation, let's dive into our big talk.
And starting with the college football world, it was a big weekend in college football. LSU knocked off Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and Minnesota rode the boat all over Penn State to remain undefeated. The latest rankings came out earlier today with LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia rounding out the top 4. Matt, what are your takeaways from these new rankings?
You know, I think I'm fine with the top 4. I think Georgia's a team that's kind of played some more talented competition. I like them there. But I know that you have a real big issue with Alabama at number 5.
Yeah, I do have a big issue with Alabama at 5 because, you know, they ranked, the College Football Playoff Committee has set up for the SEC to have 2 teams in the playoff. And I don't know if that's a ratings thing, I don't know if it's a money thing. But no matter what, if Georgia meets LSU in the SEC championship, Alabama's going to get in. If one of them has to lose that game, Alabama's going to get in, and that's what the College Football Playoff Committee has said. They value the SEC more than any other conference, which I don't think is a fair assessment at all.
See, I think they overvalue or value the SEC more, but I don't think it's Alabama because I think that there's no way they can get in. They have one
They're
one
going to
game.
get in, Matt. They're going to find their way in there.
I don't think they have a single game left against a top 10 team.
They play
There's no way
Auburn.
they can get in.
They play
But they're
Auburn.
12, right?
Yeah.
So there's no way they can get in, and you're going to tell me that a one-loss LSU is better or is worse than Bama? That's impossible because they beat Bama.
Yeah, and then my second big problem with these rankings is that Minnesota's only 1 spot ahead of Penn State despite beating them, not rather handily. I mean, they beat them by 5, but they looked real good in that game.
And
they're undefeated. And sorry to interrupt you, Matt, but the College Football Playoff Committee had ranked Penn State at 4th last week. So you're saying they just beat the 4th best team in the nation, and by beating them, they're only 1 spot ahead of them.
It was also the largest jump in college football playoff era from 17.
Which they shouldn't have been 17 to begin with. But that's another conversation. But, you know, kind of going with Alabama, with the loss to LSU, Alabama would now need a miracle to play for an SEC championship. So, Matt, if the Tide can win out but don't play for the SEC championship, do they still deserve to get in?
Absolutely not. I think you agree with me here. I think that this is a team that's good, but they've been playing cupcakes all year. I mean, looking at their who they've been playing, they've played Duke, New Mexico State, South Carolina, Southern Mississippi. These teams aren't good.
Yeah.
I don't understand the point of playing these guys against these teams. You know, penalize them for playing these cupcake schedules.
Yeah, I'd rather see a one-loss Oregon or Utah over Alabama, especially if they win their Pac-12 championship. We have to value conference championships. That's why they made the Big 12 get a championship. That's why every conference needs one, is because we value conference championships. So if you're not playing for one, but I mean, Georgia got in. Georgia got in last year. So, I mean, it is what it is. But,
Yeah.
you know, also another highlight was Clemson being ranked number 3 this week after being ranked 5th last week. So we'll see also kind of what happens with the Tigers going forward.
Yeah, we'll move on to the New York Knicks here. And on Friday, the New York Post actually released a story highlighting the toxic relationship between Kristaps Porzingis and the New York Knicks. Some of the major revelations started occurring in his second season and included KP parking across 3 parking spots, as well as telling head coach Jeff Hornacek, F you. Luke, you've been one to kind of be quick to blame the Knicks for most things, especially with Kristaps Porzingis. Do you still feel this way, or am I right?
Well, with the Porzingis thing, I'm not going to say you're right because you didn't
right.
have this information when you
But
first
I was right. He's a
attacked it.
fraud and a bad guy.
I blame the Knicks less than I did before. I mean, it's
I'll take
ultimate diva behavior to say that to your coach. To park like that. Obviously, we all know that that's awful. And
An animal.
Basically, just trying to get the team to hire your brother/agent is definitely an awful move.
Yeah, and he's just a bad guy, you know. And when he said he doesn't want to rehash what came up, and he said that in a media scrum, I think it was Thursday when the Knicks played the Mavericks.
Right. Yeah.
That's because he was wrong. He was wrong. That's why I don't want to hold.
You know what else he said? He said, "Oh, it's going to be loud in there. I'm not sure if it's going to be more cheers or boos when I return." to
If
MSG
he
this
doesn't
week."
get booed, especially after this story,
Dude, it's going to be the loudest boos you've ever heard in your
this
entire
might
life.
be the loudest the Garden will ever get
Yeah.
this season, with the likes of the Knicks and Rangers playing there.
Yeah, and the product, like you said, that is in MSG. So yeah, I'll take back that take a little bit. I'll step it back.
Right, and we'll move on. After that embarrassing Sunday loss to the Cavaliers, the Knicks front office spoke to the media, saying the team has not lived up to their expectations, and really just a shocking sound coming over from that press conference.
In our coaching staff, we believe in the plan that Scott and I put together and the players that we've assembled, but we also have to acknowledge that we haven't played at the level we expected to play at.
What level were they expecting to play at?
3-7.
Yeah, what are they? 2-8? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand what. I mean, yeah, you don't want to get blown out by the Cavs at home. You never want that. But
They
the
haven't
whole-
lost to the Cavs. They haven't beat the Cavs in like
7
either
games
10 games
now.
or like 5 years. It's one of the numbers.
It's wild. I mean, they did used to have LeBron.
Oh, it's
They've been
10
bad
games. It was
recently.
10 games.
10
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's wild. But what were you expecting? This is not a good team. This should be all about player development. It should be all about getting your young guys those reps this year. This was not a team that was set to make the playoffs, so I don't understand what the expectations were. Why are we rushing this rebuild? It's going to be a slow rebuild.
Right, and also, Mills says we trust our coaching staff, our plan, and our players. Then whose fault is it?
Yeah.
Whose fault is it?
I think
if they're
he's
not
saying it's
playing up to
his
snuff?
fault. He's
But he
saying it's
trusts
his
the
fault
process.
almost
He
behind-
trusts the plan.
Yeah, I really hate this. I hate the narrative that, you know, they play in New York, so there's a lot of media pressure and all that, but
there
you
was
went
no
into the
pressure.
summer saying this is going to be a slow rebuild, so why are they all of a sudden saying, oh, we're not where we want to be, we're 2-8, that's not good. You want the lottery pick.
And kind of sticking with this, despite Mills saying that the front office is confident in Dave Fizdale, Woj had reported that the Knicks might be laying the foundation to fire Fizdale. No, Luke, is this the right move to make?
No. Has Fizdale made a couple of questionable coaching decisions? Yes. I think that Kevin Knox should be getting more playing time. I think Julius Randle should not be allowed to ISO every play like he has this year and things of that nature. But this team is not good. Like, let Fizdale grow with this young core. Let them have that familiar face day in and day out to lead them.
And the one thing that really speaks to me is what Alan Hahn said on his radio show on ESPN New York, saying that Fizdale is here to manage stars.
Right.
KP leaves before he even gets a chance to mess around with him and kind of coach him. Kevin Durant and Kyrie obviously never show up. So is this his fault? No, because this isn't the team he was meant to coach. But at the same time, you can lose with him or without him.
Yeah.
So why fire him?
Yeah.
You know, give him another year, give him a second year, because maybe he can develop R.J. Barrett into a star. Maybe he can develop Mitchell Robinson once he figures out the minutes, because Mitch Robinson's playing like 15 minutes a night.
Right.
Granted, he's had some injury issues, but he's got to be playing 20 minutes, 25 minutes a night.
Yeah, my prediction for this is I think the Knicks are going to fire Fizdale. They're going to hire a guy. They're going to go on like a 5-game
Jeff
win
Van
streak.
Gundy.
They're going to go on a 5-game win streak, and that's going to be the same old
Bring
same
it back
old.
to New York.
It's not Fizdale's
Back
fault.
to New York.
Exactly. But we're going to take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. When we come back, I'll be joined by our producer, Andy, for his stories this week. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Stick to Sports on WTOP 10. Welcome back to Stick to Sports. I'm now joined by our assistant producer, Andy Guidi. Andy, what do you have for us today with your stories?
First off, 4-time NBA champion, 6-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA selection. Such an impressive resume for future Hall of Famer Tony Parker. On Monday, to celebrate his efforts, the San Antonio Spurs officially retired Parker's number 9 jersey. Parker spent 17 years as a Spurs starting point guard and becomes the 10th Spur to have his jersey retired by the franchise.
I absolutely love this. I mean, I love Tony Parker, and one word that really comes to my mind when I think of Tony Parker is consistency. I mean, day in and day out, he's going to give you 15 points. He's going to give you 5-6 assists. He'll even go grab a couple rebounds, and a 49% field goal percentage for his career. Just so consistent and just everything that the Spurs wanted and more.
Another word to describe Tony, for me, is underrated. I feel like he was one of the more underrated point guards of his generation.
Yeah.
Playing in a generation that included guys like Steve Nash and Chris Paul, Darren Williams. He never really got the respect that he deserved. And you can see here in the stats, he's first in franchise history in assists. He's fourth all-time in points for the Spurs, top 5 in games played. He even won a Finals MVP, something a lot of people can't say. So he's one of the more underrated point guards of the generation.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned Nash and Kidd, and those. And maybe not so much Nash, but Kidd, kind of players that were kind of almost flashes in the pan. They were great for a few years, but yeah, Parker, that consistency, and also, with the Spurs, he came in about 5 years into Tim Duncan's kind of career, and they were just so good together, and also Ginobili, and I mean, that franchise was just so fun to watch, and all the championships they won. I mean, a 4-time NBA champ, so
Yeah,
obviously great to see him get his number retired by such a good franchise.
Definitely. Moving on, the best are only getting better. LA Clippers forward Paul George is expected to make his season debut Thursday against the New Orleans Pelicans. Coming off a season where he averaged 28 points, 8 rebounds, and finished third in MVP voting, his return is an extra boost for a deep Clippers squad that went 7-3 in his absence.
Yeah, I mean, they've been great without him, which is crazy to think. And when I look at this Clippers team, I say, maybe they look across and they see LA, they see what LeBron and AD are doing together, and they say, hey, now we got Paul George and Kawhi, and they're 7-3 without him. And they're trying to run this town right now.
Definitely. Kawhi, he's off to a good start, averaging 26 points, 9 rebounds, and a career high 5 assists.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Definitely, yeah. And they're going to need Paul George, definitely. They just lost their starting shooting guard, Landry Shamet. He was a very big piece to them. But I don't think it's going to be that important, his loss. I think Paul George is going to fit in right in. And he's playing against a weak New Orleans Pelicans team that's one of the worst defensively. So it's a good it's a good start to the season for him. It will be a good start.
Yeah, definitely a good chance for him to get his feet warm. And I just think of that Clippers defense is going to be mean. I mean, you have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, two of the more lengthy, great. I mean, Defensive Player of the Year finalist last year in Paul George, and we know what Kawhi Leonard can do on defense as well. So they're going to be super fun to watch, and it's going to be just such a battle in the West between the Lakers and the Clippers this year. And I can't wait to see both these teams at full strength. So it's going to be fun to watch going forward.
Yeah. While one team welcomes back a star player, numerous teams are losing theirs. Stephen Curry, Gordon Hayward, Chris Middleton, and De'Aaron Fox are amongst several key players who are expected to miss significant time due to injury. It's a disappointing trend to begin such an exciting young season.
Yeah, it is pretty disappointing, especially, you look at a guy like Steph Curry. I mean, the Lakers are looking to mess without him. Gordon Hayward leaves, and the Celtics are 8-0 in their last 8 games. Kemba Walker's balling. But, yeah, these are some big names so early in the season.
It's very disappointing because, we didn't even include the other star guys that are already out. Zion Williamson, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and even the guys that just recently got injured, like Gordon Hayward and Curry. They were off to such great starts. Even De'Aaron Fox, he was playing for one of the worst teams in the league, but without him, God knows what's going to happen. It's very disappointing. And also Chris Middleton, Giannis has an increased burden on him, leading that Bucks team, and Chris Middleton was supposed to help him out, but now Giannis has to do almost everything.
Yeah, Chris Middleton was one of those guys that really stuck out to me. Like you said, Giannis going to have to carry this team even more, and with how hot the 76ers have been out the gate, you think, this Philly could go grab that 1 seed, which is really important for home field advantage in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. And another team to shout out, the Raptors are playing really well.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam is looking very good, but with injuries to Kyle Lowry and Serge Ibaka, can they maintain this strong play? Those are 2 veteran guys that know how to play, and you're going to be leaning on some younger guys. Are they going to be able to replicate the production?
Yeah, it's so tough to get without Lowry. You'll see if Van Vliet can kind of step up as he kind of did in the finals last year. And I mean, Siakam's been really everything and more this year. And Andy, thanks so much for joining me. When we come back to Stick to Sports, Matt will be back as we highlight our cheer and jeer of the week.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. In our cheer of the week, this one comes from what we like to call the toilet bowl or the tank bowl. In the Jets-Giants game this weekend, Jamal Adams had a defensive touchdown that was all-time.
It really was all-time. As we take a look at it here, I mean, it's just rude. It's honestly rude what he did to my boy Danny Dimes here.
1, 2, off of Saquon too.
Yeah, just ripped it
And to
from
the
him.
house.
Give me that,
The
give me
little,
that, give me
the little
that.
high step at the end was just so disrespectful too.
Yeah, and then the trolling on Twitter
Oh,
that came
man.
after was all
Which
time.
you didn't understand, of course, for those that didn't see it. It was the SpongeBob clip of Patrick dressed as a robber, stealing a purse from SpongeBob, pretending to be a woman. And you didn't understand the joke, did you?
Did you write all that down? You're like, all right.
I
so
did, yeah, I
SpongeBob
wrote it down
took a
just to
purse
make
from-
sure. 'Cause
Verbal
you-
meme
'cause you
for the
don't-
people.
You didn't understand the joke, did you?
No,
You know why?
because I didn't watch SpongeBob.
Which is an atrocity.
I know it's an atrocity, and I know there's a lot of people probably out there right now.
I'm very
thinking-
mad.
Thinking
I'm
bad
this
things
close to
about me
buying
right
the
now.
first 100 episodes just to make you watch it.
I can't watch it at this point. It's a narrative. It's a meme. I've
It's an
never watched
awful
SpongeBob,
narrative.
and it just has to be that
It's an
way.
awful narrative.
And now moving on, in our Jeer of the Week, Dak Prescott busted some moves pregame, as we'll see right here. Honestly, some amazing flexibility from the Cowboys quarterback. You hit him with the little hezzy head, little shimmy shake right there.
That's really impressive. Another SpongeBob verbal meme, the bubble blowing one where they do like
yes. It's my
like
favorite
this, like
episode.
this, like this, and this, and
Ah,
this,
yes.
and then they do like the pelvic thrust and all those like random things that really doesn't help you blow
Oh,
a
of
bubble.
course, yes. I love that.
Again,
episode
you
of
don't understand it,
SpongeBob.
but the audience understands.
Yeah, one of my favorites. But you know what? He was getting a lot of, not flack for it. I think people were just like kind of joking about it. And then Donovan McNabb came out and like quote tweeted, and he was like, he's just doing a warm up. We all do this. You wonder why he's so good. It's like, dude, we're all
Didn't
just having a
Donovan
good
McNabb
time
like
here.
later on did someone had a screen grab of him saying like this is hilarious and it was like a different guy doing the same thing?
Yeah, probably. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised in this old takes exposed era if that had happened. But like, we're just having fun with it. And like, people were just putting Dak in like different scenarios. Like they had him with LeBron dancing. Like this has
Yeah.
honestly become incredible.
I think this is what $30+ million a year looks like.
Ooh,
That's the epitome of $30+
that right
million
there.
a
Give him the
year.
contract for that.
Yeah, it's worth it.
It didn't help him though. I mean, the Cowboys lost the game.
He played. I don't know.
No,
how he
Dak played
actually.
decent. He definitely played decent, but yeah, it was
But
tough sledding
for
for
our man Sal Milano. Skull. Just a
Skull
quick one for
baby,
you, Sal.
skull baby. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have tonight on Stick to Sports. Catch us next week, same time, same place, only on WTOP 10.